Just some points, guys. Whenever you submit your assignment, no need to text me and tell me, sir, I have submitted my assignment. Don't do that. Because that's the purpose. That means we are duplicating WhatsApp. The portal, the platform is that right now is for that purpose. So you don't have to, after you have, unless you're using the postal service, yes. If you're posting your assignment to me, you can text me and say, sir, I have sent my assignment, because maybe I might not receive it or it might come in late. But if you're using a platform, you don't have to tell me. Just send. Gobi, just send.
Hello, morning, Prof.
Morning.
I missed your statement just now. Did you say something about me or to me?
Sorry, you weren't listening. It's gone already. You want to ask Shamani what it was. I'm not.
My
No, lah, no,
connection
just
was
kidding.
you.
Nothing, nothing. I just say good morning, you.
Good morning, Prof. Good morning.
So what I'm just saying is that if you send something, don't need to do that. Now, what's happened is some of you have submitted your assignments and so on. Now, I've given you some of you feedback, right? As you know, in the remarks column, and others have got back a more detailed feedback because it was required. So those of you who got the feedback, please respond. Those of you who your answer went off at a tangent. Tangent means it goes off, like a rocket. Guys, do you know that when a rocket takes off, those rockets that go up to set up satellites and so on, one of the most important things is the trajectory. That means if the rocket is taking off, even if it goes off by very little, when it shoots off, when it goes up there, it goes off by a lot. Yes or no? You go off wrong a bit, but when it goes up there, that is called going off at a tangent. So some of you answer the question at a
Prof, sorry, Prof,
tangent.
because we are in this topic. So, the comment that you mentioned about the appendices should be before, after reference. So, should I edit that or should I just leave it?
No. I'm not talking about editing. No. That one
Okay.
is just
Minor.
to give you some, drop you some advice lah. Future,
Okay.
maybe not for mine, maybe other, or the second assignment, don't do the same thing.
Yes, thank you so much.
So those are not issues. Those are not major. I'm not worried about that one. That one is just structure lah. Structure we can change, no problem. So, but in terms of the substance, so sometimes it's not quite spot on. Okay, or you went off and discussed some other thing. Then that one I highlight to you. So you just make the change. So what happens is when that happens, I will usually, everybody must listen to this. My remarks will be that will tell you these are the corrections that you need to make, and then you'll still get a mark. You'll still get a mark. So maybe out of 40, you'll get maybe 18, 19. That means it's not a passing mark already. So then I will say you must resubmit, and I give you some time, maybe about 5 or 6 days to resubmit. And when you do resubmit, for those of you who need to resubmit, you must write the word resubmission 1 on the first page, in bold, so that we know that this is a resubmitted paper. You understand? So that I can then look at it again, and if you made the corrections, then it's fine. Okay. But for those of you who don't have this issue, no problem. I'm just saying, just to ensure, just like I'm saying, when you submit your assignment, don't WhatsApp me because there's too many of you, and so yeah, so like that. Just those are some of the few things. Now, what we're going to do today, guys, this is our 5th lesson. So the last lesson will be focused on the sixth week will be focused on the final assessment. Right? We'll discuss more on the final assessment. We'll leave it for that. The areas that I've already covered with you, has sufficiently prepared you for the key areas for assignment number 1 and a few parts of the assignment number 2. Okay, that was been done already. So today we are going to do only 2 things. Do such a 2 things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to look again at assignment number 2, because now our attention should be on assignment number 2. Okay, we look again and try to see how we understand, if there are any questions. Okay, and then after that, we'll do the last part, which is very important, both for assignment number 2 as well as for your final assessment, this part. So these 2 things. So you will notice that every time you see me, it's about the assignment only. It's always about the assignment, because in my opinion, in the short time that we have, that is the most important thing, right? Over and above just attending class or things like that. This is sangat penting because it'll affect your grades. You need to try and see what we can do. Okay, Coke. So let me see. Let me see if I can find the there you go, the assignment. I know that on Sunday morning, the first thing you want to see is your assignment. Such is my students. Jason, you all are really good. First thing in the morning, you all want to see assignment. Good, good, good. Some of you are like, oh no. Okay, guys, the assignment number 2, just to recap, okay, is 25% of the grades. Okay, so it's quite a bit as well. And note, I've mentioned here, besides the objectives, the assignment is an extension of your analysis and discussions from individual assignment number 1. That means there must be an alignment. Betul tak? There must be an alignment, kan, to whatever you've done in part 1, the earlier part 1, part 2, then it goes into part 3 here, but you're submitting it separately. This is a very important and more challenging part of the whole thing that you have done. Okay, it says here, and we'll just go through it. Okay, guys, so if you listen, so it's good for you, because then it kind of like helps you to remember what you're supposed to do. It says that part 3 of the assignment seeks to bring together the first 2 parts, and and have you make recommendations. This is the part where it comes from recommendation, right? The key recommendations, the question you need to address, how do you answer a question where it says recommendation? Okay, so here it says, based on the external challenges, opportunities, and internal leadership and management issues, what are your firm's major problems? What is the main problem here? I want you to highlight so that you, under recommendations, you are focused. Why? Is there any specific sequence in which you must address the issues? Okay. Basically, there are usually many problems. So maybe you state the problems. But then which problem must be addressed first, isn't it? This is important, strategic management. Takkan you go and address all of it? It's not possible. It's very difficult, especially if you look at a large organization like MAS. It's easy to criticize MAS, struggling. Yes, it's struggling, but all airlines, it's a hyper-competitive industry. Around the world, all the airlines suffer. All airlines go through this. It's not just MAS. People say Proton. Oh, Proton, I remember those days people used to say about it. Proton was struggling and everything. People say, but they don't realize. If you go to the US, you will see car graveyards where cars are stranded and left because the companies have gone under. Even large Japanese companies struggle, right? Because it's a hyper-competitive, it's the nature of the industry, right? So you need to be aware that it's not just a national problem, it's an international problem. Why? Because of the circumstances. So this strategic management is give you a chance to think that way. That's the idea. So you need to sequence it. What you must tackle first, what must you tackle next, and why? You need to explain. Be careful, and I'm saying this again, be careful. Some of you did this in the part 1, but I didn't really look at it too much. Do not put things in point form. Yeah, you can put in first point, this is the problem. But then you must explain in sentences. You understand? You cannot give, put one point, just one, two sentences, second point, one, two sentences. Explain in sentences. You know why? Because then I can, whoever is looking at your paper can see how your thought process works. So that's a good style. What options are available for the firm to meet its most significant challenge and opportunities? Yeah. What are their options? Right? These are the problems. This is what you must do first. What else can you do? What is their options? How would you choose among the alternatives? This is the issue also. And this is strategic management because one is the problem. What you can do about it are many things, isn't it? Or we are making losses or whatever. Well, you can retrain people, you can let people go. They call it re-engineering, whatever you want to call it, right? Right? There are many different things that you can do. Reallocate or reassign people's responsibilities, many things. So how would you choose? What is your criteria? And what specific recommendations do you have for the CEO? Specific. Now, if you read this part here, what we've done in the past, we talked about happiness, we talked about purple cow, we talked about these things. All of things actually apply here. Why do I talk about those things? One is because it's a little bit more sophisticated. That's one. The other thing is, Jason is going to advise the CEO of MAS or AirAsia. You think he can? No. Jason, are you in the airline business?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Exactly, Jason. Who are you to tell me how to run my airline? I've been running this for the last maybe 15 years, 10 years. Can you tell me what to do? No, you can't. Very hard. So that is why those items that we discussed in the last few weeks are very important to you in this answer. So recommendations part, a little bit more challenging. You have to apply purple cow. You have to apply the happiness concept. All of this are not even in the textbooks. So you're learning something new, you're applying. Assuming you're reading other things in the internet or from textbooks, you read lah, tak apa. Tapi you have to be applying these things. This is the mark of the student who is, because don't forget, remember we discussed, we said that at the undergraduate level, it's about knowledge and so on. But at the postgraduate level, it's about application. That means you understand, then you apply. Okay, so guys, keep that in mind. And I really hope to see that when you are doing your work. Okay, then you got appendices again. Don't forget, you write your answer, then before appendices, you should be references. And then comes the appendices. Okay, that's the sequence. Okay. So appendices, guys, analysis of problems. Identify the major problems that emerged from the previous analysis. We should identify root causes, categorize the problems, severity, urgency. All of this is actually, if you are working, is quite straightforward because you just create a chart, a table, sequence them, put in terms of urgent, not urgent. That'll help you, your thought process to be a little bit more organized. Okay, and more important for you is that when you present your paper, the person who's reading your paper can see that, hey, Jason is talking about this. This is what he discussed just now. It's very clear. Yes, and you want to make it clear. So that again is important, right? Analyze the alternatives, identify two distinct reasonable paths for the firm you are analyzing, evaluate the potential effectiveness. Yeah, all of these problems always got one or two solutions, sometimes even three. Strategic management is where you are discussing these options. That means you're weighing it up. You're saying, if you do this, this is the advantage, this is the benefit, this is disadvantage. If you do this, usually there's an advantage, disadvantage, isn't it? For actions that the CEO has to take. You are evaluating that. Okay, that's the other thing. Comparison of alternative criteria, compare each of the alternatives you identified, right? You can set up some criteria on what you want to achieve for the airline, okay, and you can read about other airlines around the world and they are restructuring, and then you can adapt it again. That's fine as well. Yeah, I was going to say something else. Timelines, of course. How long will it take to resolve something, right? What should be done first, and in what time? Okay, what period, right? It cannot be something that you're going to take about 5-10 years. Probably it's too long. Okay, it has to be something where some certain things must be completed within the first 6 months, 3 months. Certain things maybe a year, other things maybe 2 years, 3 years, so on. So a timeline. So basically, if you smart, what will you do here? You will immediately have a Gantt chart, isn't it? You heard of a Gantt chart? GANTT. Go and check. For those of you
Yeah.
who may not be familiar, right? Most of you would be because you're working. Now, talking about that, one of the most sangat penting thing in the paper is make sure you write down your word count, but it must not exceed 2,500 words. Guys, this is strict. You know, the word not is in capital. That means you cannot even exceed one word. You cannot exceed even one word. I'm very sorry. So you must, and why are we doing this? What's the big deal? The big deal is when there's an instruction you must follow. And you as an MBA student, when you work in your organization, when your boss tells you something, instruction is given, you have to follow. Right? Not. So if I'm the boss and I tell Surin is my development manager or construction manager, Surin, please build 50 houses on this plot of land. What does Surin do? She builds, because some extra materials, we build 55 houses. Okay. This is what you're supposed to learn in this class. Follow the instructions strictly. So reading the instructions. So when you're working out there, the rules and regulations of local council, of your office, you must follow. You should learn that in this class, right? Here, if you make a mistake, maybe you lose some marks. You make a mistake at your workplace, you lose your job. And more importantly, your company could be in trouble. Yes, not. It's serious. So take it like that as well. So that is why there's instruction there. I'm saying this because some of you exceeded the word count and seem to think that it's okay. No, it's not okay. I'm so sorry. So you will suffer, when it comes to your marks. Your marks will suffer. So just be very, very careful, I'm just saying. Of course, use your APA. There's some of you who do not understand what APA. This class is not for me to teach you about APA. I'm sorry, referencing the referencing style. You can use either APA or Harvard. So, sir, I don't know about referencing. Well, there's the internet. You can learn. Just write APA referencing. It will show you. It will give you examples, and it's worth learning because, so for many of you, have got many more semesters. You will use referencing again. And tomorrow, some of you may be furthering your studies in doing your PhD. You'll use referencing again. So these are like, there are few things that's worth learning. Referencing is one of those. It's worth learning. And you don't really have to learn it. You just have to know which website to go to. It's there. Examples are there. You just follow. And then I think there's some apps also that can help you to sort that out. Those things you should learn on your own. It's quite simple, isn't it? Right. So those are worth learning. Even though I know it's a bit, I'm the worst person. I don't like it, but it's worth learning. Again, be careful about using. If you use ChatGPT and all, it's no issue. But just make sure that it stays relevant. The language stays relevant. I marked a PhD paper. A PhD paper. Oh my God, I just couldn't. A research paper just cannot mark because of the weird language, that comes out. So be a bit careful about that. Check, and even if you use, make sure it's relevant to your topic and current, right? ChatGPT will give you anything, what, 2022, but not earlier, 23, 24. It doesn't give you. You should include that in your answer. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, especially if you're talking about airlines now, there's a lot of changes, isn't it? MAS is doing quite well. You notice MAS issued bonuses after so long. All of these are new developments, right? So if your answer comes across as dated, then careful about that, lah. So if you're discussing MAS, you must take that into consideration. It must be very current. Meaning to say that your recommendation cannot be that, oh, MAS must try to turn a profit. Hello, they have already turned a profit. Betul tak? You don't go and discuss something that is outdated. So now that they've turned, what is the next step for them? Where should they go? How should they do it? Like that. We can discuss that. Okay. So just some key pointers, guys. So that is on the answer itself. I think so. I think you should be in a good position to do this. Now I'll just stop this one and try to share our other page. Right. So if everybody's okay, anybody has any questions on assignment number 2? Sorry, I didn't ask that question just now. Just in case I missed something or you're not sure. Again, try to keep within the deadline and everything. I think that's
Prof.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, who is this?
Prof. Jacinta.
Yeah.
Jacinta. Okay, I just got a question. Okay, just now you mentioned that, for example, if MS already practicing like giving bonuses to the staff, and we put in our recommendation that we should give. If there are things, of course, this is a bit general, but for example, like China Airways is example I'm giving that they actually do profit sharing. So if MAS is already doing that, and I couldn't find that information, but I put it in my recommendation. Is it okay?
No, it's not okay.
Maybe MAS is already doing that.
If I hear you correctly, you're saying that you're putting in recommendation, but actually it's already been done. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, maybe I'm not sure. Yes, correct, but I'm not sure that they're already doing that.
Well, you can check. If you go online, you can check. It's in the news. It's news for everybody, right? So if one turns around and says one didn't know, that's kind of weak, you know. It's just like somebody asked to discuss strategic groups. Oh no, I did not learn about strategic groups. Sir did not teach us about strategic groups. That cannot be. You have to go and investigate. At this level, you must go and search, and you must see the date, and you look at where the information is coming from, and you must use it accurately that way, right? Ignorance, it's just like ignorance of the law. It's no excuse, they say. Have you heard that before? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. That means Karunisa is driving. She's got a new car, and she's going really fast. Then there's the cops, the policeman stops her. Hey, you exceed the limit. Oh yeah, I didn't know. Of course, I'm just giving an example, guys. She won't, she won't drive that fast. She'll drive very fast. So, Jacinta, you see what I mean or not? You have to check. You have to find out because, hey, hello.
Yes.
Jacinta, don't forget, your advice, always all of you keep in mind, you're advising the CEO, Can you afford to get it wrong? You just imagine you're sitting in the boardroom, the CEO and the board of directors are there, and you are telling them. And it's something they already done last week. You are telling them, can or not? That is the scenario. It's not an academic paper. It's a real paper. Okay. Gobi, do you understand?
Yes.
So if you're meeting the CEO eyeball to eyeball, Can you say that? Oh no, he'll kick you out. He will say, he or she will say, no, we've already done this. So you got to think. In that sense, it's very challenging, the paper. It's very challenging. Because this chap has been running, he or she has been running the company for the last 10 years. They know everything about it. They've gone through all of it. And now you are coming in to advise them. You put yourself in that position. You, of course not. For example, if Surin is in some business, can I go to Surin and start giving her advice on her business? I have to know that and a little bit more. So the background work is a lot, actually. Right? I assume that you know that. The background work that you do is a lot. And you must think before you suggest something. Check, recheck. That's the purpose. Same tomorrow, if you are in the, this is a very good exercise if you use it wisely. Why? Because tomorrow, when you are talking to your top management, you must do that as well. Kalau tidak, your top boss will say what? They will listen. They may be kind to you lah. They say have a coffee, yeah, and then they say you can go now back to your desk and remain there for the next 15 years. don't darken my shadow. It's true. It's true. You all are working, isn't it? You know what? Your boss mana ada masa. They are busy. They are under a lot of pressure. Same.
That's a very good one, doctor. That's a very good one.
Which one are you talking about? There's so many good ones.
No, the one you said, don't darken my shadow.
Yeah, no, don't darken my shadow. You know, I always use that on my wife lah. My wife will come and tell me some relatives. Karunisa, betul you dengar ni. Some relatives said some irritating something like asking for this, I don't know what, or doing something stupid. I said, let's not talk about this. Ini perkara bodoh. This is stupid. We don't let it darken my. You don't darken even. Not to say you come and talk to me. Don't even darken my shadow. So don't come near me. No. Because I want to stay far away from stupid. Far away from stupid. So, but we are also busy, and I'm sure all of you all are working hard as well. I don't know about you guys. I'm sure you will have some relative. Always there's one or two who are, not doing the right thing.
We have
also
no
have Prof.
God, I think
Yeah.
it's like that. Always God. And then what do? Do we spend time on them? Do we focus on them? Do we think about them? Yeah, we have something, but to saja lah. We don't want to waste too much time. We go on already.
I
Right?
ignore them, sir.
Because the environment in which we are in is very tough. I'm telling you, it's going to get tougher. It's going to get tougher as you go forward, guys. You must remember that. Don't think that it's going to be easy. I was in an industry where we were the top management, and all my colleagues are relaxed. Aku cakap betul. They all relaxed because they were earning good money. They were in good positions. The higher you go, the harder you work. The more you earn, the harder you work. Because and this is something I learned from one agent, because we are in the paper business. Sometimes the paper mills from international paper mills appoints agents. So one day I'm having a drink with this agent. So I congratulate him lah. I said, wow, good. Some of the Japanese mill, I said, wow, you got the agency. That's very good. You know what he said? Guys, listen to this. He said, the day I get the agency is the day I'm prepared to lose it. The day I get the agency is the day I'm prepared to lose it. How cool is that? That one stuck in my head. That guy is damn cool. It's true. You think it lasts forever? You think your position, everything is good, you're going to be there forever? You never know. We hope it will be, but you got to be prepared. Because the agency was very lucrative, right? Anyone else would be like, oh, straight away they go out and buy a brand new car, buy a new house, or even worse, get married. So I mean, these are some of the dangers. I'm just saying, Karinisa, this applies both ways. So, Azul, all of these are, Azul, these are costly things. I'm talking about costly things. All right. So I'm not sure if this answers, but So I'm not sure why we're discussing this as well. But basically, I'm just telling you that this is the thing. I can tell you a lot of things because I was in the industry and I deal with a lot of these people. It's very, very interesting. And I learned a lot from them. The day you get it is the day you prepare to lose it. This is the trick. Right? So, yeah. So, right, guys, let's look at this one. Why are we talking about ethics and social responsibility? Why have I included this? Do you know that ethics and social responsibility, if you may look at many of the textbooks, it doesn't come into the syllabus. It's not discussed. But do I care? No, I don't. Why? Because Khairunisa and me know that we write the book. The book writes about us. Right now, it writes about us, what we are going to do, how we are going to change the world. We are here's another big word. We are the protagonists. How's that? Protagonists. It is us, right? For those of you who can't spell nor pronounce this word, it means you are the main actor. That means you are the main actor, lah. Isn't it? I don't care what the book says. I really don't. I just go by what needs to be done. And one of the key things that needs to be done, guys, even if you have misalnya your strategic management sangat bagus, but if you don't have ethics and social responsibility, you're not going to go far. You are not going to go far. Right now. At some point, you are going to kena, in bahasa say kena pasang kaki. Pasang kaki. I don't know what's the word. In bahasa, peribahasa, I'm a peribahasa expert, by the way. I don't want to show off and all that. You know, and people without ethics, you know, what are the keywords? Harapkan pegah makan padi.
Pagar.
I know you guys are who are with little education.
It's
think
pagar,
it's
right?
pagar. It's
pagar.
pagar lah. Ayo, goodness gracious. Pagar
Burung.
mana boleh makan padi? Pagar dah letak. Pagar, guys. Okay, here's a lesson. No charge. Pagar is a bird. So you're hoping that the bird will eat the insects. You know, some of you have never even been to a sawah padi. I just don't know what to say lah. So anyway, the bird is, you hope that the bird will eat the insect, but the bird is eating the rice or whatever you're growing there. You know, but in school also, Khairunisa, they teach salah tau.
Betul tu sir, dia orang memang ajar salah. Kita daripada kecil
pagar.
thought is pagar.
Pagar, harapkan pagar mana ada. It doesn't make any sense. But as a young boy, I tried to understand. Salah. How painful it was. Another one. Bagai melepaskan batuk di tangga. Tan, you're wondering what it is, isn't it? Tan, you have no clue.
Nobody cough at the stairs.
No action.
It should be batok.
Betul, yeah. You're washing our legs and
those days kita ingat tahu tau. Dia naik tangga, lepas tu dia batuk. Salah. Bagai melepaskan batuk di tangga. Batuk is actually the apa tu Siti, the sendok. What do you call that? What's the word?
Gayung, yes.
Gayung. So you know, those days, you see, the traditional house was a very practical house. You know, it was built on stilts. Why? Because it was wet, and then you have that farm animals. Maybe they are rearing some goats or whatever. So those animals would not enter your house. So it's a very, very practical house. In fact, if you look architecturally, many of these old houses in the villages didn't even need air conditioning because of the ventilation, isn't it? They have the hose on top and stuff like that. So when And the place oftentimes would be quite maybe muddy, especially after a rainy day. So when they go up the stairs, they use this that gayong, you call it. The one, hey, hello, is it the same one? Is it still called the one with the clapper? They use the
Yeah, made from tempurung, sir.
Yeah,
Tempurung.
tempurung.
they use that to make the one with the bamboo and all that. Then they use it to wash their legs before they go up, so it's clean now. So when after they use it, they usually just throw it back into the into the container of water.
Tempayan.
Tempayan.
Tempayan. You see lah. I see now I'm being schooled. Not that I'm being schooled, but y'all are good. Please teach me because do you know my problem with my bahasa? I understand bahasa very well, but my problem is in the tak fasih. Tak fasih, especially if you go to pasar, the people speak, they are very, they have a very fast, a very, I speak like I'm reading a text. Hey, one of the problems I have, I don't know whether I learned it because when I'm young, I use the word aku, Whereas my wife says, you cannot do that. You should use the word saya. But isn't saya and aku the same thing?
Aku is like some
Yeah.
like disrespect.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I was
It's
told
the
that
same thing,
aku,
but according
aku
to
is
her,
lower than
old
saya,
generation
right?
also use aku.
More humble.
Yeah, saya is more
sa-
humble.
Yes,
more,
correct.
aku means is harsher.
Yeah, it's a bit
Yeah, yeah.
harsh.
It's like usually we can talk to our friends
But
like
the old
aku.
generation also use aku.
That's the problem, because I remember, I think in school we were not taught that, So you notice I'm doing a lot of unlearning. All these peribahasa also I all unlearn by myself because I'm very keen. Because these are actually you don't realize, but they are very, very useful because they are terms that have stood the test of time. Stood the test of time, isn't it? So in other words, if you learn, you're learning wisdom. You understand that? You're learning wisdom. So I think that should be important in schools, right? Jangan membuka pekung di dada. How do you say that? Something like all of these things, are very, very good learning. And in all languages, they have words of wisdom, in all languages. And these are things that everyone should learn, I think. Again, I have no idea why we have come to this part of the discussion, and none of you have taken the trouble to tell me, sir, we were talking about something else. So, okay, we're going to discuss this, and I don't want any more interruptions from anyone, okay? Absolutely not. You may not ask me any questions, maybe at the end. And I only need, where's my clock? Okay, I only need about, 23 minutes and 14 seconds. Do you have 23 minutes? Surin, you have 23 minutes and 14 seconds?
Of course I do, Prof.
I tell you, Surin is the young lady who's ready for the class. That's the thing. That's the spirit.
I got 2 hours, Prof. I got 2 hours.
Yeah, Syed is the one who says what we all need to hear, but we all know that immediately he's going to go to snooze mode shortly.
This time around, no, Prof. I haven't slept for 3 days. Completing my SM assignment.
You are doing what?
I haven't slept for 3 days.
Why?
Doing the assignment. The strategic management.
Pure dedication. I tell you, the rest of you, please listen to this and don't follow. Okay. Syed, I know it worked with other lecturers. It's not working here. I think you may refrain from continuing on that. So, okay, guys, listen. I see now, I only got 22 minutes left. Ethical and social responsibility challenges and impact. How it applies to strategic management, right? All of you maybe have studied in your degree level or some other courses, ethics and social responsibility. What I'm going to go through with you, just a few things, guys, which is relevant and applicable for your assignment. You understand? This topic on ethics this topic on ethics, I'm not kidding you, it's a very, very huge topic. And one of the universities is that if you go online, you can get tons of material on this thing is Stanford. Stanford got huge and really, really good reading, really interesting if you're interested in that area. One of the areas for research in future, if you do a PhD, is on the area of ethics and CSR, because not many people do this. In fact, I have yet to come across a student who is doing in this area. And this area is not that difficult, but it's a very niche area. And going forward, organizations will consider that. Large organizations will have an ethics officer. If you look at developed countries, the large blue chip organizations, they have that because there are many things that they have to look at for the organization or for the corporation to survive. They need this actually. Sebenarnya is very, very important. Right? So that is why we are doing this. So if you are interested, please go to Stanford or anywhere else, good sites. You can get lots of information. It's out there. It's an old topic, right? But what we're going to do here is to look at the key areas that you can apply for your assignment. If you do that, it's enough already. Okay. So let's get right into it. Let me see. Yeah, so we're going to try and understand the rules or the parameters for conducting something. We're going to try and understand what are the questionable, morally questionable acts by managers, right? And what do you mean by rationalization? We're going to try and understand what strategy. Okay, we know this. Now, what is the strategy? What can we do going forward? Okay, that's what we're going to consider. Now, the first thing we have to do is always look at definition. Right? Anything else, so you must put a definition in there. And the definition I'm looking at for this one is this very simple one. It's more or less similar to all of them. If you go and check Google for definition, they'll give you many, right? So this is a very simple but straightforward one. It says, ethics provide the basic rules or parameters for conducting any activity in an acceptable manner, right? So this is how ethics has been defined. But in your opinion, what do you think is the problem with this definition? What's the problem? Do you see a problem with this definition?
Any activity.
Activity.
I think every individual have a different definition of the acceptable.
Yeah, the word acceptable is a problem. Guys, the word acceptable is a problem. That is why you find, if you read the newspapers and whatever, you find that what is acceptable in China is not acceptable in the US, for example. What is maybe acceptable in North Korea is not acceptable in South Korea. It's crazy, isn't it? So the issue of acceptability, so this is a problem in ethics. So actually, ethics is a very complex problem. It's complex. It's not so simple because surrounding ethics is the issue of culture, right? The issue of the environment, the ecosystem, the history. So if you go to the Middle East, if you go to some of the countries, if you go to Yemen, for example, and the way they think is so different from where somebody else's thinks, even in Dubai, different. Even though it's within the same area, don't even talk about going outside of the Middle East, okay? And I've seen this firsthand, right? Because I've worked in those places. So I'm just trying to tell you that I'm not saying that you have a solution. I just want you to appreciate that it is difficult. So when you discuss a point about ethics, in your answer, the first thing you must highlight is that this is a difficult, complex issue. Because when you are advising the CEO, you're talking to him, then you must also say that you also must take care of the ethical corporate social responsibility side of the business. Corporate social responsibility is quite straightforward because this is what good citizenship is about. But ethics, how? How do you manage a diverse group of people? So the ethics part comes in, okay? So you must, by writing the answer, you say that this is going to be a very difficult, very sensitive, very challenging area. You say that, so you know that's already very, very good. Already very good. Appreciating the challenge. So this definition again shows you that. And you can look at any definition also, you have the same problem. And so in even within a country, even within a state, even within a community, even within a family, different families have different um, ethical approaches. Okay, so what this means generally is that there's the issue of ethics always sometimes not going so well with the legal aspects of it, right? Usually ethics and legality and all these things come together, right? So you have many situations. You have situations where some things like in here, in this case, corporate decisions, you can be in quadrant 1, ethical and legal, or it could be ethical and illegal. So you probably are wondering, oh, but what does this mean, right? For example, if let's say Syed decides to, after his MBA, Syed says, oh, I am going to, because I've learned so much from strategic management, I'm going to set up my own factory. So Syed's the deepest jungle somewhere in the remote area, Syed sets up a factory. Right? But in order to run his factory, Syed has to bring in workers, right? So he goes to and sources the workers, let's say from Bangladesh, for example, because there's a lot of labor supply. So he goes and sources, and he tells them like, look, if you come and work here, we'll pay you 8 hours. If you work for extra 4 hours, 12 hours, we will pay you overtime, right? But in order to bring workers into the country, he must follow the rules and regulations, isn't it? So he must fill up the form, pay the taxes, and so on. So he does it, no problem. He promises them 8 and 4. 8 hours work for us overtime. He pays them. He brings them out in. So it's in quadrant 1. Both ethical and legal, no problem. But sometimes, maybe there are some people who are ethical but illegal. They treat the workers correctly, but they bring the workers in illegally. They don't pay the taxes. Right now, if you read the newspaper, always we got this situation right now. It's always happening, right? And then you have people being, how should I say, left at the airport, right? That sort of thing. Then unethical and legal. That means you bring them in legally. You tell them, I'll pay you 8 hours work, and then 4 hours is overtime. But you make them work 12 hours and you don't pay them the overtime, example. So I'm just saying that what I'm saying is, so there's always this overlap of legal and ethical. So sometimes it may be legal, sometimes you may do something that's legal, but it could be unethical. So it's always that kind of situation. Okay, so ethics and laws always sometimes don't go together so well, right? Challenging in that sense. The next point I want to highlight to you is the point about managerial rationalizations. What does rationalization mean? It's a long word. What does that mean? To rationalize.
Make it understandable.
Huh?
Cream.
Make something understandable,
yeah, understandable, acceptable. So, so I can give many examples actually, to be honest, rationalizing, especially when it comes to dieting lah. Should I have that extra piece of cake or should I, have dessert? Always I'm rationalizing. People, I'm the worst at that, the worst thing. But anyway, point is, when we talk about rationalizing, it is when people trying to convince themselves, right? I'll give you an example here, rationalization in terms of organizations. These few things here. They rationalize because they think that the activity is not really illegal or immoral, right? That it is in the individual's best interest, or it'll never be found out, or because the company also where you work for, they agree to it. I give you a perfect example and really from experience. I'm not kidding you. I was running the Malaysian office and we were, in the pulp and paper business. So we have to bring in, we have a lot of containers coming in all the time. shipments, coming in all the time. And for those of you who might be in logistics or are aware, shipments have to be cleared within a certain time, isn't it? Kalau tidak, you kena what they call demurrage charges. That means that if the container is not cleared by you, it comes in, you don't clear, you have to pay in terms of, I don't know, rental or something, all kinds of fines you got to pay. So in order to clear it, you must clear your documentation. So at the time, this was before 2000, so it was a long time ago. So I'm not sure if this is the case now. When you want to clear your documentation, you must fill up a form. So there's a form with a few pages. So of course your logistics people, whoever will fill up, or your staff fill up the form, and then you must give to the pegawai, the officer, who will has to stamp and sign off and check or something. But all the people in logistics, when they go to the counter, when they submit the form, inside the form, they put 5 ringgit. Inside the form, they put 5 ringgit and they put there. So all the forms, a lot. So the officer, whoever will just take the form, he will stamp, he see the 5 ringgit, he'll take the 5 ringgit and then he give you. Now, what happens if your form don't have the 5 ringgit? You know what he'll do? He'll put it back at the bottom.
So that one is processing fee, processing fee.
Nonsense. It's not an official, there's no receipt. Yeah, processing, process your head. Solehan.
No
I put Solehan
integrity.
in charge. And she will check you. Cannot. So, but here's the
Donation,
problem.
Prof. It's donation for your hard work.
Zul is trying, this is Zul trying to rationalize lah. Okay, tak apa lah. Because gaji dia pun rendah, he's a and then he got family also, he has to look after his family, government pays solo, so it's okay lah. But here's the problem, guys. The organization and I was running it, the money, it was VC money, Sing $30 million, we are running the organization. That money comes from Asia Tech Ventures. Asia Tech Ventures is a company, it's an organization under World Bank. So the money to run our business, the VC money, comes from World Bank. And World Bank, when they give you the money, they're very, very strict. You cannot spend the money, you cannot use any money, not even $1 for under table bribes, all this. No. Cannot. So my organization, we cannot pay. There's no such thing. Other organizations, the company gives them the money, If some of you have been in this business and logistics, the company actually knows that you have to pay. They give you the money to pay. And this is a bribe or under table, whatever you want to call it. We cannot. And so we didn't. We had to follow very strictly. And I'm a good guy, so I follow lah. I will lah. And my directors also say, all 4 of us. But really, it was mandated for us. So we always gonna demurrage, delay. Then I go there and talk to them also. We never give at all, we never give. So we always gonna delay, so our cost is always slightly higher. What to do? Which is why we never operated out of Vietnam. We had offices in Beijing, in India, in Indonesia, Australia. We had 9 offices, not in Vietnam, because at the time in Vietnam, it was still the military was still very much in power. I'm not sure how it is now, but everything that you do at the time to Vietnam has to have double invoicing. Double invoicing. That means some payment has to be made. And so since we can't pay, so we can't do business there. That's the cost. I hope things have improved.
Yeah.
Probably.
So that's why MSCC very important. MSCC.
Yeah. All
we
of
also
this.
experienced that. That's why we report to MSCC and they bought the Bokan. 10 over police beside at the kopitiam, then they go and hentam the person. Straight away take and put into the jail. Cannot go back home already. Very fast.
How assignment can do? Assignment will they let them do the assignments?
Huh?
No, nothing. That's okay.
No. No chance to do assignment already.
No. Yeah, but so what I'm saying is, the people in that area who are all paying, for them, the activity is not illegal because everybody is doing it. Everybody's doing it, it's okay. It's okay. But is it wrong? It's wrong. It's actually wrong, right? And some people say, oh, my company also pays me to do it, so it should be okay. And somebody says, yeah, nobody will know, you know, and so on and so on. So basically what we're saying is, this is a problem with rationalization. So these are one of the things that you can emphasize to the CEO, for example. Beware of rationalization. Be very strict in your approach, isn't it? Right? And trust me, it can be done. It can be done because we did it. We ran the organization for 7 over years. We never paid anybody anything, right? So a lot of people will say, oh, if you want to do business, you got to do that. No, sorry, because unfortunately, that would be wrong. So what I'm saying is, there are many types of this sort of thing, questionable acts. One is expense account cheating. A good example is sometimes your company gives you some leeway. They say, okay, never mind, Hazila, if you meet a customer, a client, if they want lunch, take them out for lunch. It's okay, the company will bear it. There's a lot. Sometimes companies, they have an entertainment account. But then sometimes some people abuse the account, right? So they take their, I don't know, girlfriend, boyfriend, they take them out for lunch or dinner and they place it on the company expense account cheating, right? So these are things also questionable acts. Superficial performance appraisal, right? You're supposed to appraise your staff. You got 5, 6 staff, but do you appraise them properly? No, you don't. Right? You just, I'm busy with my work. Last moment, 10 minutes, 5 o'clock, you're leaving the office. In 10 minutes, you quickly fill up the form. You don't care. This is wrong also because your staff needs your feedback, isn't it? If you're a manager, they need your feedback. And if you are the staff, you must get the good feedback from your superior, right? Otherwise, there are a lot of implications. So simple things like this, also you must make sure it's done properly because it can affect the morale of the staff. So this is some things that you can remind the CEO to remind their HR team. You can remind them. Ini sangat penting sebab apa? Because the self-esteem, the esteem of your staff, the morale can go down. So just to check, okay? Bribery, of course, you know, is straightforward. Not withdrawing products when it's not safe. Supplying products that are dangerous to people, right? Not that can endanger food products, for example, right? Things like that. So those things can go wrong. I give you one very good example, okay? I give you an example. I gotta look for my pen. Sorry, I use this pen. My other pen doesn't work. I will now. I draw this symbol. I want you to tell me what product they sell. Okay, I draw the logo. You all already know by now that my drawings are pretty good, so I'm gonna draw it. Okay, I draw the logo. I see whether you know or not. This is the logo, guys.
Michelin.
All right. Syed, how did you know my drawing that good? Syed, huh?
Prof.
What?
Ghostbuster.
I see. Michelin.
You see, Syed, I'm giving Syed 1 mark already. I don't know about you guys. Syed definitely going to get 1 mark from me because he is
Your
artwork artwork. Call it artwork baga. Call it artwork.
Your artwork it's like Da Vinci Code.
I tell you, there is a man with taste. Everybody listen. There is a man with taste. You please observe and learn. A man with
You are a born artist lah, sir.
Sweet talker lah.
Talented approach.
You need a sour grape lah. You say sweet talker just because he said the right thing. Why you are?
You're not lawan lah,
this
saya.
one.
Too fast.
Exactly. You see this already, you know. Akila, I know you don't know what this is, isn't it? Akila, come on. What are they selling?
Tire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Now
they are
people
not
tell you
selling
know
tire,
lah.
they're selling safety.
It looks like Dunlop tire.
Michelin star restaurant.
Azul is gone away. That's right, guys. Once again, I've proven that my drawing is special. I'm just going to write that word down here. I tell you, you guys are going to illustrate
I
it
wanted
for
to say
you.
Prof in 10 years.
Say what, huh?
I wanted to say Prof in 10 years.
In 10 years, what?
That's Prof.
Zul, I wanted to give a mark to Syed. That mark is coming from you, no, Zul. Do you realize that?
Oh, you did
Don't
bad.
lah, don't lah. Don't take my mark. I don't have enough mark.
Zul,
The
Zul.
worded mark.
I told
Prof.
you
Thank
before,
you.
guys, I have no marks to give. All the marks belong to you. Whenever I see your face, I give you 100 marks. It is you who take the marks away. So my conscience is very clear. And when I give to someone, I take
Suddenly stuttering. The moment I want to hear the most precious words from you, Prof. Suddenly you started.
It's lagging already.
No, Prof. It's just no.
Prof, your line is breaking up.
No, Prof. You sound like this, Prof.
Say Robert. Sorry.
Zul to Syed. But anyway, here's this thing.
Okay, welcome back, Prof. Welcome. No? Okay. Gone.
Gone.
I told you guys, Prof gone already. The moment he started,
It's okay, bro. You become Prof.
gone already. Yeah, lost mark already.
I got cut off just now. I'm very, very sorry. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, because Prof, you're trying to rationalize giving my mark to Syed. Suddenly, the world doesn't agree.
You keep that up, you're going to lose another one. You watch it. Okay. Now, I want Nisa to tell me, Nisa to tell me what I'm going to draw now. Okay? Not all of you keep quiet. Huh?
Why me?
Okay, Prof. Okay, Prof.
Prof, if answered minus mark or how?
Please, no, sorry, I don't know. My line is so bad.
This is time consuming already.
I think this is called imagination.
Yes.
Wait. No, I'm trying to get my pen, guys. I'm trying to get my pen. I'm not sure what's wrong with this thing. Honestly, I tell you. Let me try. It's like hung like that. You know what I'm saying? It's coming out as eraser. Okay. I try again. Okay. Okay, this one, you see what it is. What is this?
Draw something else to continue, Prof. One circle only, can't imagine.
Oh man, if I got this right,
You're super smart, Syed.
No, I'm gonna end this meeting. I'll continue writing my assignment.
Finish already. Drawn already.
Tayang.
What is this?
Looks like tayang.
This is a logo of logo, bro. Is it a logo?
It's a logo.
It's a logo
Okay.
like that.
This, guys, this is a Michelin tire. What's the problem? What's your problem?
Aiya.
Aiya.
I mean,
I knew it
where's the
lah.
rim? Where's
Aduh.
the rim?
Huh?
Where's the rim, Prof?
This is
You supposed to
tire,
put a
man, not the
rim.
rim.
Only tire for
Tire.
Michelin, not
Tire on the
Tire
road
only.
only.
Tire only. Okay, listen.
The two mustache coming out
Michelin,
of the tire.
guys,
I can guess it's
Michelin.
like donut, you know.
Who said donut?
Me.
That's it. You're gonna lose. I'm taking 1 mark from you. I'm giving it to Simon. That's it. This is
That's so generous of you.
This is a tire, a Michelin tire. Now here's the issue here, guys. When we say not withdrawing products when safety issues are concerned, Michelin is an expert on tires. They know everything about tires. They make tires. Even I show you the logo, immediately you know. And it's such an identifiable thing, right? So they're experts. But you know what happened? And this happened a couple of years back, and this is a real story. When they were producing the tire, what happened was it had a air bubble inside the tire, like the air bubble inside the tire. Now, what's the problem when when you do the tire, the rubber comes out through an extrusion process. In the extrusion process, what happened was there's a slight defect in the sense that there's an air bubble in the tire. So what's the big deal? If you drive normally, no problem. But when you start to drive fast, what happens? You notice these lines here? It means driving fast. See, most of you didn't get it, but there you go. So the tire is now on the road going fast. And this thing down here is the road going fast, right? No, Nisa, the donut wasn't going fast.
It's going fast to our stomach, Prof.
Yeah, true. That's true. So anyway, but here's the thing: when the when the tire hits the road and it's going fast, it generates heat. As it heats up, this bubble begins to expand, guys. It begins to expand and expand and expand. And at some point, right, it'll burst.
Boom.
That's right. Now, just imagine if when you're traveling fast and you're traveling along the cliff. That means on the left side is the cliff. On the right side is a huge valley, and you're going very fast. And your tire explodes. What will happen to your car? It'll go off the cliff. Right not? It'll go off the cliff. You see, the problem is all of us are not James Bond. James Bond, no problem. His car will go off the cliff. After a while, you see him in his brand new coat with 2 ladies by his side. But people don't work that way. People in real life, they die. So it's
Except
dangerous.
for John Wick.
Oh yeah, Wick and James Bond. Now I'm quite happy. People die as a result. All right. So, and this really happened. And I'm sure now, even now, guys, if you read the papers and some of you may have bought cars, they have this recall thing. Why not? They recall. Hey, this is not working, right? I remember Toyota, very funny. They had a problem with the accelerator. I mean, for those of you who are driving Toyota, don't be too upset. But the accelerator, when you press down, the car keeps going. You let go, the accelerator gets stuck. Can you imagine? And the worst part is the tagline for Toyota was always moving forward. So it's true. I'm not kidding you. It just so happened that the tagline was always moving forward. And the problem with the car, I'm not sure which model, a few years back, if you remember, when you press the accelerator pedal down and you let go, the pedal gets stuck. So dangerous. So, and I'm sure there are some cars recall, any cars, even you talk about BMWs or even the our local cars, they have recall, isn't it? Sometimes the exhaust has a problem or something has a problem, or seat belt has a problem, right? So the question for us is this: how come you are such a expert company in making tires and this can happen? And you know why it happened? It happened because Michelin was trying to compete. They brought on, at that time, a new CEO had come on board. And, one of the ways they compete is to always come up with the new models as quick as possible. Right now. Why? Because someone like Solehan, if she goes to the workshop says, okay, I'm going to change your tire. Then she says, no, I want, change that, but the latest model. Why? Because in her mind, the latest model is the most changgay, the most whatever, isn't it? So the tire companies, Goodyear, Michelin, and all the rest are trying to compete, always trying to come up with the latest, best model. So this guy, when he came into the organization, he says, why is it taking 12 months to come up with this new model? No, not acceptable. I want it in 3 months. 3 months. So what happens? That's his instruction. So everybody has to follow. Everybody cut down everything by a third. Cut down until it come down to the guy on the factory floor, right? Who is in charge of quality. He's supposed to test the tire for 1 million revolutions. The tire will be put to a testing process. And when you do 1 million revolutions, everything will happen now. The heat, the wearing, all, so people can know what's going to go wrong with the tire. If he had done that, he would have found out that there is a air bubble in the tire. That particular process for that tire, there's an air bubble. But you know what he did? He cut down. Instead of doing 1 million revolutions, because you want it in 3 months, so maybe he did 200 or 150,000 revolutions only, which means the heat in the test did not go up to the temperature that you would normally face on the road. Yeah. And as a result, the product that was supplied was faulty. You understand? You see what the ethical implications are here? Right? Not because you are dealing with something that involves the health and safety of people. So in that sense, should not the airlines also think about this? Something to think about, isn't it? Why? Safety. Just because you want to make a fast turnaround, right? Fast turnaround so that you can reduce your costs. That is what low-cost airlines do, isn't it? It's called the hub and spoke system. I fly to Philippines, I turn around, I come back so that my air stewards or stewardess don't have to stay overnight. I save on my hotel costs. So you go turn around. So other low-cost airlines turn around 2 times. You try and turn around 3 times. Your stewardess is sleepy. Your stewardess has got assignments to do. Right? So much work. I always assume everyone is studying. I might be wrong. Who was it the other day? Who, very sad story, who didn't qualify, who went for the interview but didn't get the job. Who was it? I can't remember in our class.
Who ah? Who, Prof? I
Oh,
don't know.
so sad. So I bet her recommendation, sure kena the CEO, sure one because of frustration. And please make sure your HR choose people properly. Please, guys, stay focused. Don't get carried away. So anyway, so that's that, guys. So that's that. That's my point, right? When we say not withdrawing in the face of safety and all that. This is what you need to do. So bribery cases, I know every country you have that, that situation. So large organizations can go under because of that. Oh dear, I have to rub this thing off now. Where's my duster? My duster. I'm always using the other. Okay, there you go. It's gone. Okay, cook. So ethical standards. So sometimes some people say that, we need to legislate. Legislate meaning come up with rules and regulations. Let's legislate lah. Just make a law. The problem with laws is laws cannot foresee everything that can happen. That is why later you see we'll discuss some solutions to this. We cannot say that, if If it's one thing, then it's always going to be one thing, because people are so diverse, so many different things that they can and may not do. If you, for example, say, oh, if somebody steals, I'm going to sentence them to 20 years in prison. So I asked Surin, I asked Hazila, I said, yeah, stealing is bad. I agree. I also agree. So fine, 20 years. Okay lah. So you have a robber, a guy, very bad guy, or who does a lot of criminal acts, and he comes before you because he stole something. Let's put him in for 20 years. Then sometimes it may well be that here comes before you a young lady, and she's a single mom, she's got 2 kids, and what did she steal? She stole milk because her kids were hungry. Can we put her away for 20 years? Bit difficult, isn't it? So what we're saying is, Parliament has a difficult job, a very difficult job. That is why a very good example is the death sentence for drugs. Death sentence for drugs. Do you know what it means when you come up with a law, when you pass a law? It means that the judge has no discretion. So, for example, in Malaysia for a long time, if you got caught, right? You got caught, okay? Let's say Tan came back from a business trip, right? And he landed at KLIA. And then they checked his bag and they found just the right amount of drugs, which is not allowed to be brought in. So they checked his bag. Mr. Tan, I'm sorry, but now we have to charge you. All right. Then the penalty is death, because drugs in Malaysia for a long time it was death. But everybody say, hey, but Tan doesn't even smoke, Tan doesn't smoke, and he's a very good citizen. He has got no pass, whatever, and he does all his assignments. Not sure what that's got to do with that, but there you go. So good character lah. But if he comes before the judge will say, okay, fine, very good, right? But the evidence, the prosecutor will say, the evidence is that he's been caught with this amount. That's it. He doesn't have to say much anymore. And what will happen? Tan will get the death sentence. That's happening in Singapore now. He gets the death sentence. There are sometimes some people who, these drug people, the drug laws, they're very smart. They give somebody, maybe someone who's OKU, for example, who doesn't understand something, ask them to carry drugs. So it goes before the judge. The judge, even though you're OKU, will still give you the death sentence because it's the law. You understand? It's the law. So in Malaysia now, you don't have the death sentence anymore. Are you aware? Tan, this doesn't mean that you can go and take drugs. It doesn't mean you can go and take drugs. I'm just saying it gives a discretion. So the judge can say, oh, this person, Tan, it's unlikely that he's carrying drugs because he's a good character, and all his classmates vouch for him except Syed. But the rest of them said Tan's a good guy. So, so we say, Tan, we give you a warning. Next time, you be careful. Don't carry anything for people. And that's it. So what I'm saying is, this is the challenge between right and wrong. Very difficult. So in organizations, it's important for the organization, later on you will see, to have a code of conduct, right? Rather than having rules and regulations. We'll talk about this shortly again, right? But if you read about it, you will know, okay? And sometimes it's also the situation where in a country, the vast majority of the people don't want it, for example. But a small minority who makes a lot of noise, it sounds like it represents everybody, but it doesn't, right? So these are the challenges that parliamentarians or people who come up with the laws face. So it's important to understand that. So the point we are making is, if you look at this, right, the important thing is, in an organization, what you do to one or two people can affect the whole organization, isn't it? One or two things, right? So everybody impacts the other person. If, let's say, in an organization, everybody is, this classroom is an organization. And then let's say Nisa makes a lot of noise. She doesn't off her mic, she plays her music. She's one person only, but it affects everybody, right? Except Syed, because Syed likes the music, so he carries on with that. But the rest of us, so organizations are the same. So you need to have a certain amount of, what should I say, trade-off lah. Yeah, you must give them some freedom, but you must also have some discipline, something that they must follow. Then, otherwise you have a problem. I mean, that's the reality lah. So this is something that you can discuss as well. So we need to establish a strategy for ethical responsibility, right? Yeah, we already talked about the problem, but what is the solution then? What is the solution? Okay, something for us to discuss. Come up with ethical practices and for conduct, right? A code of conduct rather than rules and regulations. A code of conduct. You know, I was on the disciplinary board of the university for about 10 years, and we have a rules and regulation book, you know, very thick book. I don't even remember what the rules are. You know. I tak boleh ingat tau, sebab it's a book, a whole book, and I haven't read the whole thing as well. My point is, what more the student? So in an organization, many organizations will have their rules and regulations in a book or a text. And normally it's very difficult. You see, not many people want to read it, and especially those people who are at the executive level, right? The driver and all that, will they read all these things? They won't. So instead of that, you should have a code of conduct rather than rules and regulations. Now, what do we mean by that? I'll give you a simple example to illustrate, okay? Let's say we are having a physical classroom now. All of us are in the classroom. You're sitting at your desk. You came in. Everybody came in, okay? We have the class. And then it's a night class. Started at 7 o'clock, finishing at 9 o'clock. Oh, sorry, my class cannot be that long. So 7, finish at 8 o'clock. So after 8 o'clock, everybody goes back. Everybody goes back, and then we come back the next day for the next class. Sorry, the next week for the next class, right? But when we come back, you know what I notice or not? All the chairs are missing. All the chairs are missing. Why? Because all of you, Zul, Zalina, Tan, Jacinta, Atika, when you all left the class, you all took one chair and went back home as well. It's really upsetting, you know, really upsetting. So so what do? I go and write a rule on the wall. I say, when you leave the class, do not take the chairs. And I ask everyone, do you all understand? You say, yes, you understand. Okay, no problem. So we carry on with the class. And then everybody leaves. Next week, I come back, Surin, you will not believe this. All the tables are missing. Why? Because when you all left, you took the tables with you. So I'm really
You are
upset.
very strong. You are very strong.
So, hello, they were light tables lah. Yeah, I try to poke holes in my story. Don't disturb me. So the tables are missing. So I write on the wall. Yeah, the other day I wrote chairs, right? Now I write, when you leave the class, do not remove the tables. Everybody understand? You all say yes. Okay, fine. Continue with the class. The following week I come back. And this time my whiteboard is missing. So I say, this is very difficult, isn't it? See, when you have rules and regulations, I cannot, my mind or my imagination also cannot encompass all the things that can go wrong. But wouldn't it be better if I wrote, instead of writing all that, you know what I wrote? Do not take that which does not belong to you. Simple. Do not take that which does not belong. That means don't take the chairs, the tables. If let's say your friend Surin left a water bottle there, don't touch her things. Don't take anything. Take only yourself and go. It's a code of conduct. Do not take that which does not belong to you, full stop. Easy for everyone to understand. The same for organizations. You must check. Where do they keep their rules and regulations? Can you recommend to them that, hey, have a code of conduct lah? If code of conduct, very simple, 2-3 sentences, easy for the driver to understand, easy for the pilot to understand, easy for the busy executives or management people to understand. Everybody knows we must follow this code of conduct, isn't it? Easier. Rather, you want to write everything one by one, people can do strange, funny things you don't know. And with technology, things are changing. So a code of conduct, good behavior. So this is something all of you can recommend to in your recommendations as well. And this is something that even the CEO is very experienced. He can say, yeah, that's a good point. Good. Thanks for the reminder, Surin. I think we will promote you next week. Hey. You see how it works, right? Not. So it's very, very reasonable. Okay, so this is something I want you to think about and see how you want to apply that. Okay, guys. So there are many decisions that impacts morality. Okay, you have immoral, you know what immoral is. Moral, also you know what it means. But what does amoral mean? Amoral means that you take a decision that has got no morality to it. For example, if Siti is running her company, Siti tells her staff, she says, look, whenever we want to buy something, I want 3 quotations. Okay, you get 3 quotations, and we'll always choose the cheapest one. It's just a business decision, isn't it? I mean, there's no morality to it. So amoral. So sometimes decision makings can be amoral and just a business decisions, and that's all. Right? That's just something to think about. The other thing is to take a holistic approach. Now we talked about problems. How do we overcome the problems? This is the important thing. This is the important thing, right? One of the issues you've noticed that you can ask the CEO, how does HR hire the people? How do they hire people? Most of them will say what? Most of them will hire based on experience, right? Based on qualifications, that sort of thing. Okay. Experience and qualifications. But how many of them hire based on values? Values, isn't it? Because if you want to run after what you have learned, you want to run a proper organization. You say, I want to run my organization. Like when we were running EPUB and paper, we ran it that way. It had to be that way. Right? We couldn't have people who were doing something else that was wrong. So if you want to run an organization with those sort of values, then what must you do? You must hire based on values as well. Experience, qualifications, and values also, isn't it? So you can talk to the CEO and say, maybe you do that. So the question is, how do we measure values? Is it because of this person, that person? Is it based on race, religion, or whatever? No. There are psychometric tests that you can do. Just like if you want to hire somebody based on leadership skills, you have a psychometric test, isn't it? There are tests out there that you can design, that you can use for your organization. So let's say if I want to run an organization that looks after abandoned animals, for example. Surely I must hire somebody who cares about animals, isn't it? Then maybe I ask the question, in Jazul, if you were coming home, okay, and it's raining, and at the front gate, there's a small little kitten. It's wet, and it's heavy rain, and you're in your car. What will you do? Zul, it's a $50,000 job. What's your answer?
I'll take the kitten and bring home lah, Prof.
Such a lie.
Extra 1 point.
What extra nonsense? Akira, that's a very bad decision you've just made. I just told him 50,000, he stopped and picked the kitten. If not means, I told him this job pays him 300 ringgit, he would have said, forget it, I don't get wet, I'm tired, I'm going home. I opened the gate, I'm balik.
No lah, I like kucing, I still bring back. Kesian.
You see, I was just testing him. So actually he's a nice guy. The worst is my wife. Oh my God, when it comes to animals, cats, you know how many cats we have rescued? So many. It's so crazy. Dogs, cats, anything, birds, and she will rescue them. And then the worst part is we rescue the cat. Now we don't have cats at home, right? A long time ago we used to have, but not anymore. Rescue. Now what do we do with the kitten? You know what happens? The person who gets the worst of it is me lah. Now must go and buy the kitty litter, then must buy the cat food, must buy all of these things. No, no, nah, we don't know this cat. We don't know its name. I've never met it before, right? Got nothing to do with me. I'm just happily doing marking my students' assignment. Now I have to stop. I must stop because my wife says stop. I mean, I must go to the shop and buy the kitty litter and buy the food and everything and give. So while she's nurturing the cat, she's sending out on social media who wants to adopt the cat, the kitten. And you know, interestingly, it always gets, amazingly, it gets adopted. It does. So a lot of her ex-students lah.
You know why the adoption rate high?
Why?
Because you are the one who's supplying the necessary equipments and
It's true.
food.
It's true. Sai, you're right. We give everything, you know, because we don't have a cat. So we bought everything now, kept the cat for what, 1-2 weeks. And the cat is healthy. And she's very smart, you know. She'll take the video of the cat when he's cutest lah. The cat will be on the chair, balancing lah. You know, kitten lah. Cute lah. Dia tunjuk semua lah. Everybody falls for it lah. Oh, you're suckers lah, you guys. Yeah.
Marketing strategy.
Yeah, and then the worst part is all the things that I bought also given away together. The cover, the this, and everything. Oh,
Oh, that's a loss for you, boss.
what do you mean loss? Loss, not in loss in terms of money. Time. What about my time?
Buy back. You need to buy back again.
Huh?
You need to buy back it again when the new cat
Buy back
comes.
what? The wife?
No. The
What?
equipment, the food, the everything you give.
No, I given already until the next time another one is found lah. Another one is rescued. We have to buy again lah. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
It's a hard life lah. What can I say? I mean, I suffer by myself lah. But I'm not sure why I'm talking about that. But yeah, coming back, yeah. So hire the right people. Set standards more than rules. That's a code of conduct we discussed just now. Don't let yourself get isolated. What does that mean? That means any organization should not just be on their own. See, even people as human beings, as people, we should not be isolated. We must mix. For example, if the organization must be part of the maybe Asia Pacific Aviation Association. That's what we mean by isolation. Don't just be by yourself. Get your people, your staff involved with other organizations to do with aviation, whatever. Your organization must be a member of all these organizations. Banks, for example, there's the Asian Banking Association. They even have a Global Banking Association. They have all of this right now. You must be a part of that. Why? What's the problem with isolation? Isolation means your thinking becomes very narrow, very dangerous. A lot of cults are formed that way. If you read historically, if you look at the cults that has formed in the US, for example, a lot of these cults, C-U-L-T-S, what do? One of the first things they do is they create isolation. They tell you, oh, you must only listen to me. And then they move you into a remote area. Don't read, don't watch television, don't watch TV, don't read the newspaper. It's isolation. So mentally, you are affected, you know. You don't have that. But if you are part of an association, you realize, hey, this is what other airlines are doing. Hey, this is what they're doing. Banks are the same. All organizations are the same. So be aware of that. So you should check and encourage the CEO that they should not be in isolation. By being aware of what's happening around them and being part of those organizations or being involved in the community, you will then understand, hey, this is what people want. This is where the technology is moving, for example. This is where the rules and regulations, you must engage your lawmaker, your parliamentarians or your representatives. You must engage them, isn't it? So this is something that you can recommend so that they don't become isolated lah. So then the most important example is what? This is something you can suggest to the CEO. Hopefully, he don't scold you. Sir or madam, you must set the example. You must set the example. If you say you want your staff to work this way, you must do it. Right now, if you look at organizations, and I've worked in many, what the boss does, everybody follows. A simple way is even dressing. I've worked in an organization where everybody wears a tie. So boss wears a tie, everybody wears a tie. What to do? I have worked in an organization where the boss every day wears a jacket. So we also, not to say we wear every day, but any function we will wear a jacket because boss wears. I worked in an organization where the boss doesn't wear a tie and always folds up his sleeve. After a while, you notice everybody fold up their sleeve. So your example is very important. Okay. So, for example, me, when we were dealing with the customs those days and clearance, I always tell the boys, no, you don't pay. And sometimes I myself go to the customs, right? What happens if I go to the customs and to clear the goods, I pay? Can you imagine? Cannot, isn't it? If I say, then I must do. So the same thing, right? So guys, these points here are very important. The holistic approach is very important, not only for your recommendation, but also later on for your final assessment. Final assessment, you'll find that you can apply this, right? Now, because it will be a case study of an organization. And the question they will ask you is, hey, what should you do? Because from a strategic point of view, even though the textbook doesn't discuss this, but these are very real important issues. You may be a class A student, A student, sangat pandai. But if on the ethical or corporate social responsibility side, you are lacking, you will find that you will not go very far, right? You're going to get into trouble, right? So this is something that we want to think about as well, especially when it comes to our staff. So ethics and business decisions collide, right? There's always the conflict of interest, and it's not easy, right? A lot of times you will find that the CEO has to answer to the stakeholders, right? Like MAS, for example, I'm not sure. Is it PNB is a stakeholder, or I'm not sure who the stakeholders are, right? So the shareholders of the company.
Khazanah, bro.
Khazanah. So the CEO is responsible because he has to answer, right? Now he has to go for a board meeting. He has to answer, and they may want certain things, which may not be what he wants. So these are some of the realities that they face. It's not easy. So, and different personalities and so on, right? The complexity of decisions, right? They have extended consequences. So my point is, business decisions have extended consequences. That means things can go wrong, which you cannot imagine. You cannot imagine it can go wrong. Okay, if you don't pay your taxes, like I just told you, the customs people, they want to, let's say somebody takes some money, for example. Let's say you bring in an expensive item. I'll give you an example. Okay, Gobi brings in an expensive item. The tax is 10,000 ringgit. Gobi, 10,000 ringgit, no. But then the logistics guy tells Gobi, you know what, Gobi, if you pay 500 ringgit, you don't have to pay the duty 10,000. Isn't it? So Gobi says, yeah, I can save money. After all, I'm doing it for the company. Rationalization. I'm doing it for the company. So Gobi is rationalizing. Gobi says, if I save money for the company can hire more people, which is good for the country. Ooh. Isn't it? Because he didn't pay the 10,000. But when you don't pay the duty or the tax, who loses? Who loses? When you pay taxes, who takes the money?
Government
What does the government do with the money?
paid to the
For the
citizen.
people.
subsidy,
Infrastructure.
development of the country for
Buy
the
condo for
public
themselves.
infrastructure, everything.
These are like no funny answers. Zul, please check. Find out who's giving all funny answers. I know I'm waiting for that now. Mesti ada orang. Hello. The government takes the money. The government use it. Somebody said for the people. Correct. The government use it for the people. How? The government will build roads. The government will build hospitals. The government will build schools. Isn't it? So somebody will say, oh, sir, but the government abuse the money. No, that's not your problem. Your hakiki or your important thing that you have to do is you pay the taxes. You do the right thing. What's your problem? Why are you so sebo? Atika, betul lah. You pay taxes. You don't go and over and then discuss what other people are. Then some people say, oh, but other people also never pay the tax, so I also don't pay. Can no. This is wrong. Rationalization. Tomorrow, Atika, if anyone talk like this, you just lean back, sip your coffee and says, guys, stop rationalizing. Atika, that's one way to lose friends quickly, but never mind. Coming back to our discussion here. The point is this. What was I talking about? Yeah, I was talking about, so Gobi didn't pay. Gobi paid the 500. Gobi paid 500 and didn't pay the 10,000. How much does the government lose? How much?
10K.
10,000.
More than 10, because it's...
Yeah, but Gobi paid 500, what? But so how much does the government lose?
10K.
I'm waiting to hear if anyone say 9,005, I'm going to shoot you. Hazila, always my class, there'll be one joker, he or she. Oh, 9,005. Hello, the 500 he gave to the official. He gave to the official, doesn't go back to the government, okay? It goes to him. So government loses 10,000. So 10,000 is lost, okay, fine. Okay, this is a microcosm of the problem. Everyone listen, this is a microcosm. So the government has got less money. Okay, fine. 6 months later, Gobi, are you still there or not? Still talking about you.
Yeah.
Don't be scared, Gobi, it's just a story. It's just a story, don't worry. None of us discovered what you did. Just listen. Okay, here. So Gobi. So Gobi.
Actually, that's the interruption noise behind me. That's why I closed my mic.
Oh, no, mic you can close, never mind. Camera don't. Want to see your expression. Anyway, Zul is checking on all of you. Zul is my class monitor. Anyway, so 6 months later, so Gobi's at home. And where Gobi stays, he's got a neighbor. Neighbor is a husband and wife and the old father staying there. Old father. His neighbor. 6 months later, this one. You all watch these movies, sometimes movies say 6 months later, 6 months earlier. Movies are like that. So 6 months later, this movie, Gobi is now sitting at home. And then the husband and wife, his neighbor, has gone away. And the old man who stays there is very sick. Turned up. Note, you're noticing my bahasa is pretty good there. Turned up. And never mind. For those of you who don't have, please go back to school. So the point is, but Gobi is a nice guy. Gobi is a nice guy. Hey, all of you, listen. Gobi is a nice guy. What does Gobi do when the old man is sick and his son and daughter are not at home? Gobi says, never mind. I will take you to the hospital. So Gobi comes in his car. That's right, guys. It is a bazaar. He comes. Lisa, you don't laugh. See, she's very bad. So make a note. She's laughing. This guy said Gobi's guy is a bazaar. She laughed at that. Very bad. Gobi is, despite saving the 10,000, he only got a... Please, I tell you, if I was the Prime Minister of Malaysia, I'm just telling you now so you all know, I'll make it compulsory that every single household has to drive a Malaysian car. I notice some of you, I'm sure, don't drive a Malaysian car. Please do. Where's your national pride? And don't anybody dare ask me what car I drive, because then I will deduct your marks, right? So I have the advantage. So can you listen? So anyway, he drive. Guys, stick with the story now. Stick with the story. Gobi drives his Beza. The neighbor said, "Supper, I will take you." He takes the old man. Old man is very ill. Put him in the car. So Gobi drives. The hospital is far away. Okay, tak apalah, hospital far away is one thing. Gobi drives fast. But the problem is the road is full of potholes. Lubang everywhere. So the car, firstly, it's a Beza going over over potholes. The suspension is not the best lah. So Zul, note Azul, the old man is already sick. Sitting in Gobi's car, which he's driving, the old man is getting worse. He's getting worse. So after 2 hours reaching the hospital, guess what? Sad story, guys, sad story. The old man doesn't make it. That's right. He's quite dead. He doesn't make it. He stopped breathing. He's turned cold. I don't know what other ways to express, right?
He ceased to exist.
See, so mean, Zul. So mean. How can you too many movies that he's watching, but never mind. Leave him aside. So the point is, the guy is no more. He's passed away. He's not in this world anymore. The question is, whose fault is it? Surin, whose fault is it?
Gobi for not paying tax.
I tell you, Surin is wise beyond her years. Correct. It's Gobin's fault. Why? Because if he had paid his tax, the government would have built more roads, more hospitals. He can drive fast. The hospital is nearby. The man would have got his treatment, and today he would have been alive. Gobi, I hope you're happy. You see the point? Extended consequences. But here's the point. 6 months earlier, Gobi couldn't see. I gave you one example, but Gobi only thought of himself. He couldn't understand the extended consequences. Right? The extended consequences. I gave example of Gobi, but it could have been his sister. It could have been any situation. We don't know. The extended consequences. You don't know. That's my point.
There is karma lah, Prof. Karma.
It's not that. It's much more than that. It's when we say extended consequences, which is why you must pay your taxes. Any country you stay in, any country in the world, you must pay your taxes. Half the people are trying to pay less taxes, trying to run away from taxes. Is that the right thing to do? No, it's not. It's not. Remember that eggshell? All of you live in there. That's it. That's the whole ecosystem. What you do will affect somebody else. Even if it doesn't affect Gobi, it's going to affect someone else. So this is something that you, maybe in your conclusion or something, you want to talk or mention something about the extended consequences of our actions. If you run the organization well, you can grow, you can compete, you can hire more people, you can pay, the productivity is high, you can pay the staff more, and the staff can then take care of their families. Their families can provide their children with a good education, right? They can all enroll for my class, they can learn, and the cycle continues, the circle of life. Zul, the circle. So it starts with us here in this class. You notice how it went all around? Went to Surin, went to Gobi, went to Zul, went to Simon, came back to us. The Lion King. The Lion King.
Yes, sir.
I think it is the consequences, like fast forward 20 years, 30 years, it become very bad as our income tax collection is less than, from our population is less than 4%. And Malaysia tend to collect more from car duty. And eventually we have a lot of cars and causing congestions to everyone.
I agree. That's not the point. The point is this. The point we're trying to make is this. The responsibility is on us lah. Starts with me lah. Starts with me. I must pay the tax first. Because otherwise, you will start to rationalize. So the same thing with the CEO as well, right? If you're running an organization, you cannot say that, no, other organizations also do this. So that's not the best thing. So if they all do, from the organization to the staff, also all pay their taxes, everyone does everything, then it cascades down. So yeah, so try and just keep it simple that way and address that one. Okay. So the other thing is where corporate social responsibility is concerned, I just want to draw your attention to these 3 points. That is, one is on social obligation, social responsibility, and social responsiveness. Very simple. All right. Social obligation, just now I mentioned somebody was setting up a company, a factory, let's say in a remote village somewhere in Malaysia. So they set up the factory. Now, the factory has got affluence. That means it comes up with waste material. The person who runs the factory, the person makes sure that the waste product doesn't go into the river, because if it goes into the river, it damages the ecosystem, isn't it? But why does the company boss do that? It's because of social obligation. Because if he doesn't do it, the ministry people or some department will come and check and say, excuse me, there's waste material going into the river, you have to pay a fine. So the person will make sure that he does not do that, or the company doesn't do that, because it's social obligation. It means the paksa lah, it's a law, you cannot do that, isn't it? In another state, it could well be that there's this thing called social responsibility. Is that the word? Yeah, social responsibility. Social responsibility refers to where, let's say, you set up the factory in a village, then what you do is you also set up a playground. Because in a remote area, no playground, you set up a playground. Nobody asks you to do that. You don't have to do that. But you do that because you say the workers in the village nearby work in my factory. So I set up a playground because at the end of the day, my workers' children are going to enjoy it. There's no law that says you have to do it, but you do it because it's social responsibility. Then there's another point that is sometimes raised. It's called social responsiveness. Responsiveness is one step higher. So you've got obligation, responsibility, and one step higher is responsiveness. How does responsiveness look like? How does it work? I won't go through it now, but essentially I put a video on week 5, I think, on the situation in Ethiopia, where Samsung as an organization is helping a community in Ethiopia. Social responsiveness means you do something where you get nothing back. You get nothing back, or cannot expect anything back. Some people sponsor something lah. Let's say, for example, you've seen some people are big companies, I'm talking about billion-dollar company, sponsor a small event, bagi 3,000 ringgit, Hazila, but the check is 5 feet by 6 feet tall. Have you seen that? Betul tak? Dia ambil gambar, dia bagi check. $3,000 check for rumah anak yatim, and it's a one-off payment. Hello, the anak yatim makan hari ni, lain bulan tak payah makan. you know what I mean? And it's a billion. They made profits. I've seen this actually, no joke. They made a profit of I think over $1 billion, and they give 3,000. So this is sometimes really challenging. So that means they did it for the publicity, but social responsiveness means you do it for nothing. You don't get back anything. So in the video that you see, you will find that Samsung helped a village, an African village in Ethiopia itself, a very small village that doesn't have lights. no electricity, right? So they help that village, and that village are so poor, they cannot go and buy a Samsung phone. They cannot buy a Samsung TV. So Samsung gets nothing. You understand? That's called social responsiveness. So these are things that you can discuss, again, depending on your organization and what you can recommend, right? Like you say, look, why not we strive for something more? Because then it can encourage your employees, that feeling that they share, and then that whole happiness discussion comes in and all that. So it's very, very interesting that way, guys. Okay. So hopefully you can take up that discussion. Next point is, yeah, certainly a little smile makes a huge difference, right? If you can help them. And then recycling, issues of recycling also, these are important from a strategic point of view, from a company image point of view, all of these things. Right? So the key always is always about leadership, right? Leadership. So actually, when you put in the recommendations goes to leadership, whoever's leading the organization, right? They will set the tone. So when you're presenting this paper on recommendation, you got to think in your head that firstly, it must be very convincing. Secondly, it can make a huge impact. So you need to impress the CEO about this matter, because sometimes some people have been working for 5-6 years, they forget some of the basic things that needs to be in place for organizations to function. Okay, and maybe you can work on that one. Okay, spreading a few smiles. This is Miss Barbara. Barbara will ask you some questions as you go along. And these are the questions. And because I like you, I also given you the, I think, answers and so on. I won't go through that. But that's basically it. That's basically it.
Hi, Prof.
Yeah, sorry.
A question. In some companies, they have ethics officer, and then they have compliance officer, and then in legal, there are many other levels of officer. When I tried to Google just now, and then based on your class, it looks like compliance is also inside, right? Inside the ethics. What is the core difference between being ethical and compliance?
Oh, that's very simple. That's what I just explained just now. Obligation versus, responsibility and responsiveness. Right now, I remember I told you the factory example. The factory person doesn't allow effluents or waste to go into the river, not because they love the environment, because they don't want to kena saman, so they do it.
Okay, I understand.
And then they set up the playground. They don't have to set up the playground, but they do it because they say that, okay, this will help the community, or it's good for the children.
Okay, so
That's
both
an
of
example.
go hand in hand together.
But what happens is, as you said rightly, most organizations have these compliance officers and all these things they have because they are a large listed institution. But your challenge is to add sophistication to the whole application of the whole thing. That means you must say that, look, we should strive for something more. We should do more. MAS, for example, flies to many countries, isn't it?
Right.
Shouldn't maybe MAS can do something where they do it in those countries, a small project that can impact and improve their image. Maybe, I don't know. It's something that you can think.
Okay, understood. Yeah. So it can bring them like some sort of like higher, better, improved corporate branding somehow.
Exactly, and then it impacts their business, lah.
Right. Okay.
All right, guys. So I'm really, really sorry. We took an extra 13 seconds. Solehan, checking 13. Okay. Right.
Prof,
So, and
I got a
that's it.
question.
Yeah, you have a question, sure.
Yeah, talking about just now the income, all this paying the tax to the government and so on. I mean, especially in terms of income tax. So in Malaysia, there is a Muslim and non-Muslim. I mean, so one is paying tax, another one is paying the zakat. So, but I'm so far still not understand how the zakat actually works. Is it the zakat also used to pay to utilize for the public infrastructure for the whole Malaysian
This is
citizen
where
or
it comes
something like that.
to the use of the internet and knowledge being everywhere. This is not the class for my discussion of that, breaking that down for
Okay.
you. I'm so sorry. Yeah, just like, for example, you notice that in the assignments, I never mentioned or discussed strategic groups. But you were writing about strategic groups, you were drawing the graphs, you were doing that. What does that mean? See, the trick here is not to teach you something, but learn you to learn. You understand? We learn you to learn. Oh, this is an issue. We discussed this, and then now the intricacies of this one, and then you must check. You must go and follow up. Otherwise, the whole thing becomes a bit different. But the basic tenets, 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 tenets are basic principles that one follows. Remain the same throughout. I think, but throughout all of these things, the tenets are the same. So the basis on which the organization will run is the same. Okay, the principles, basic principles. That is why if you understand one industry, you notice that we are just talking about the airline industry. If you understand one company and that industry, guys, you will actually understand other industries as well. I'm telling you, the principles, the business principles are lebih kurang the same.
Yes.
So, like me, the only thing that I understand very well is the pulp and paper industry, because I was there for about almost 25 years. So I know that very well, in and out, both in terms of production, marketing, operations, finance, I know. So that helps me to understand other industries. Same for you. So if you know your own company, for example, so when you give examples, you can use as illustration your own company as well. Even though you're talking about the airlines, I say, for example, you're using the example from your own organization. Can you imagine how rich your paper becomes? It becomes very rich, the substance of your answer. And also because you're practicing applying, constantly applying. Always remember it's application, right? Putting in facts is not useful. Explaining, oh, Popper's 5 forces is this is not. We want to see how it applies. So the same here as well. And the recommendation part, don't forget the Gantt chart, all that. So this paper, this part of the assignment, actually the word count is very tough because it's very low. Things you have to write is actually a lot. But in 2024, you must be straight and to the point. And you must explain that point clearly, but keep it clear and decide what you want to include and what you don't want to include. Is judgment, You're using your judgment. These are things that comes into play for something like this. Okay. Right, guys. So thank you for your attention. Really appreciate it. So the next class, it will be all about your final assessment. Now we talked about the earlier class, assignment 1 and 2. I'm not going to be discussing that anymore. The next one, when I see you, we'll already be discussing the final assessment because we want you to do well in that as well. Okay, right? So you'll be well prepared. So what I want to say is, again, guys, since I'm going to be seeing you after Raya, I want to wish all of you a really happy, joyous, blessed Hari Raya. Have the best time with your family and friends, and most importantly, be safe, right? So many of you are traveling, and as you know, you always hear about all those accidents and everything. So just I have a saying in my house, my own home. It is rush at home, don't rush on the road. So at home, we always have a time to leave. We actually rush at home, but on the road, then we have a buffer of about half an hour, so that you can drive slower and be a bit careful. The weather is also a bit strange, but otherwise, have the best raya ever. Have a great time, and you have the time, try to think about assignment as well, if you don't mind. I know
I don't mind, bro. I don't mind. Bro.
I know the timing is a bit tricky, but yeah, but at the same time, All right, so guys, terima kasih, and I see you when I see you next.
Thank